What does Bang Si-hyuk actually know about BTS's comeback concert at Gwanghwamun, to the point that the Seoul metropolitan government dares to mention a number that sounds almost impossible, 200,000 people? And why is Jungkook repeatedly cited as the key to it all? This question does not arise out of thin air. It is born from a strange intersection of official data, global euphoria, and industry whispers that rarely spill into public view. When a free concert is predicted to rival Coachella, when a single group is said to be capable of mobilizing a crowd equivalent to the population of a small city, and when the chosen venue is not a stadium but the symbolic heart of South Korea, it is only natural for the world to ask, is this a celebration or the most dangerous test in the history of modern K-pop? Seoul, a city accustomed to massive crowds, is now preparing for something that even urban planners hesitate to describe casually. Official projections from the Seoul metropolitan government and related authorities state that BTS's comeback concert at Gwanghwamun Square on March 21, 2026, could attract approximately 200,000 fans from around the world. This figure, as cited by mainstream media outlets such as Chosen.com, immediately triggered comparisons to Coachella, the American music festival long regarded as a benchmark of global industry power. Yet that comparison only amplifies the unease. Coachella is a multi-artist festival spread across a vast area with layered ticketing systems. Gwanghwamun is a public space, free, open, and located at the center of government. And BTS, only BTS, is the sole reason people are coming. The explosion of global attention began on February 1, 2026, when the X account at ThePopcore uploaded a media quote referencing the prediction. Within hours, the post spread across platforms, from X to Reddit, from music forums to international news channels. The numbers attached to it were more than social media statistics. They became indicators of the emotional temperature of armies worldwide. More than 9,700 likes, thousands of reposts, and hundreds of thousands of views reflected something deeper than mere enthusiasm. This was an assertion of collective identity, an acknowledgement that after a long hiatus since 2022 due to mandatory military service, BTS was not simply returning. They were returning with an allure that might be even more dangerous precisely because it is immeasurable. The photos accompanying the post added another layer of symbolism. BTS stood in front of Gwanghwamun Gate, not as tourists, not as advertising icons, but as the central subjects of a national narrative. Gwanghwamun is not just a concert venue. It is a historical stage of Korea, a space where political demonstrations, national celebrations, and moments of crisis have unfolded. Choosing this site for a comeback concert is not a neutral decision. It is here that speculation begins to grow. Is this merely an aesthetic choice, or a message carefully constructed by HYB and Bang Si-hyuk? Bang Si-hyuk, a figure long known for speaking more comfortably through strategy than through public statements, has suddenly resurfaced in an unusual context. Behind the scenes, intensive discussions are reportedly taking place between the police, the Seoul metropolitan government, and HYB, as reported by abs-cbn.com. Officially, the focus is on safety. But among industry observers, safety is only the outermost layer of a much larger issue: how to manage the symbolic power of BTS, which has now surpassed the framework of entertainment itself. The concert, titled BTS 2026 Comeback Show at Seoul, will be held for free, with the official on-site capacity estimated at around 18,000 people. That number alone creates an irony. If the official capacity represents only a fraction of the projected crowd, then the vast majority of attendees will inevitably be outside the core area, relying on giant screens and indirect broadcasts. Chosen.com reports that the industry expects large electronic screens to be installed to accommodate the overflow. Yet a critical question still hangs in the air. Is technology enough to calm the euphoria of 200,000 people who arrive with a single emotional purpose? Fan reactions on social media only reinforce both the concern and the pride. Comments cited by Korea Times, Yo.K are emphasize the fundamental difference between BTS and other festivals. The difference with Coachella is that everyone comes only for BTS, not for other performers. One fan wrote. This statement, perhaps intended as praise, indirectly acknowledges an extreme concentration of emotion. In mass sociology, such concentration is often described as a risk factor. because collective emotions focused on a single object tend to be more difficult to control. It is at this point that Jungkook's name begins to surface in a more intimate and speculative narrative. As the youngest member and the most globally recognizable figure, Jungkook is often considered the face of BTS for non-Korean audiences. After the military hiatus, his return to the group stage is viewed as a moment of catharsis, not only for fans, but also for an industry that has long placed immense expectations on him. Rumors of a new album titled Ararang further intensify the symbolism. Ararang is not merely a title. It is a Korean folk song, a symbol of suffering, separation, and hope for return. Linking BTS's comeback to this name at Gwanghwamun creates an almost academic layer of meaning, as if the concert were designed as a cultural text meant to be read again and again. Yet beneath all the symbolism and euphoria lies a darker question that is rarely voiced openly. Has Bang Si-hyuk calculated the possibility of chaos? The projection of 200,000 people is not just a number. It is an early warning. When the government begins to cite figures comparable to Coachella, it signals that worst-case scenarios are already part of the planning. This is where the so-called secret message, circulating in fan forums, begins to find its context. No written evidence has leaked to the public, but the emerging narrative suggests that Bang Si-hyuk issued specific guidance to Jungkook and the other members on how to conduct themselves on stage, how to manage audience emotions, and how to restrain spontaneous gestures that could trigger chain reactions. To some, this may sound excessive, but to those who remember crowd tragedies around the world, such caution feels entirely rational. Entertainment.inquirer.net emphasizes that the free and open nature of the concert significantly amplifies logistical challenges. There is no ticketing system to control human flow. There is no economic filter that usually limits attendance. Anyone can come, and many will come carrying emotional expectations cultivated over nearly 4 years of waiting. Fans in the United States, one of the largest army bases outside Asia, are also celebrating the news and anticipating live streams or real-time updates, as reported by KoreaJoongangDaily.joins.com. This cross-continental enthusiasm adds a global dimension to a concert physically centered in Seoul. The world will be watching, not merely as music audiences, but as witnesses to a social experiment. Can a pop group hold a free concert in a national public space without incident? Is the symbolic power of BTS sufficient to maintain order through the collective respect of their fans? One thing becomes clear. The Gwanghwamun concert is not merely an entertainment event. It is a convergence of state, industry, and global emotion. And at the center of that vortex stand Bang Si-hyuk and Jungkook as two distinct yet interconnected axes. One as the architect behind the scenes, the other as the magnet on stage. If the projection of 200,000 people truly materializes, Seoul will not only host the largest concert in South Korean history, but also serve as a testing ground for the new limits of global pop culture. The question now is no longer whether BTS is ready to return, but whether the world is ready to contain them. In the K-pop industry, it is rare for a concert to be discussed from the outset not in terms of music, but in terms of its potential risks. Yet BTS's comeback concert at Gwanghwamun has surpassed that category entirely. Since the projection of 200,000 attendees emerged, internal discussions at HYBE are said to have shifted direction. The focus is no longer merely on set lists or visual concepts, but on mass psychology. In this context, Bang Si-hyuk is not simply an executive producer or agency founder, but a figure carrying moral responsibility for every possible chain reaction that may unfold. Industry sources, indirectly cited by various Korean media outlets, suggest that preparations for this concert resemble state-level event planning more than a music performance. Discussions between HYBE, the police, and the Seoul metropolitan government are not limited to barricades and evacuation routes, but extend to emotional scenarios. What happens if the crowd begins to surge during a particular song? What if Jungkook's comeback moment triggers an uncontrollable spike in hysteria? These questions, though they may sound speculative, are treated seriously because global experience has shown that collective euphoria can shift direction within seconds. This is where the narrative of Bang Si-hyuk's so-called secret message begins to take shape. There are no recordings, no leaked official memos, but HYB's long-standing internal communication patterns suggest that strategic guidance is often delivered personally, especially to members who wield the greatest emotional influence. Jungkook, with his reputation as a global magnet and a figure who frequently becomes the focal point of cameras, naturally stands at the center of this attention. After completing his mandatory military service, Jungkook's return is not merely about vocals and choreography, but about symbolizing the continuity of BTS itself. Pop culture observers note that Jungkook occupies a unique position within BTS's internal dynamics. He is the youngest member, yet also the one most often presented as the group's global face, particularly in the United States and Europe. When international fans imagine BTS's comeback, many of them subconsciously envision it through Jungkook. This is why every movement, every expression, and every word he delivers on the Gwanghwamun stage is expected to carry a multiplied effect. Bang Si-hyuk is widely known as someone who deeply understands narrative. From the early days of BTS's career, he emphasized the importance of storytelling, not just songs. In the context of this concert, the story being constructed is not only about the return of 7 members after a long hiatus, but about maturity, self-restraint, and a more evolved relationship between artists and fans. Many believe that the core message Bang Si-hyuk conveyed to Jungkook revolves around boundaries, the boundary between emotional expression and collective responsibility. This creates a paradox. On one hand, a comeback concert is a moment of emotional release after nearly 4 years of anticipation. On the other hand, precisely because of that emotional intensity, control becomes crucial. Jungkook, known for his spontaneity and expressiveness on stage, stands at this crossroads. Will he fully express his longing, or will he restrain himself for the sake of crowd stability? This question may seem exaggerated to some, but for event planners dealing with a projected crowd of 200,000, every detail matters. International media such as Entertainment and Quartet.net have highlighted the fact that this concert is free of charge, a decision that symbolically reinforces BTS's image as a group that has returned for everyone. Yet this decision also removes the filtering mechanisms typically present at large-scale concerts. There are no tickets, no strictly enforceable capacity limits, and no control over who shows up. In such conditions, the figures on stage often become the most effective tools of social control. A calming sentence, a call to maintain order, or even a brief pause in the performance can have a significant impact. Fan comments on social media, collected from platforms including Reddit and X, reflect an awareness of this reality, even if it is often wrapped in pride. Statements such as "BTS doesn't need any other festival," and "everyone comes only for BTS," carry two sides of the same coin. On one side, they affirm BTS's unique status. On the other, they acknowledge that BTS's pull is so immense that it is nearly without comparison. From a security standpoint, this lack of comparison makes planning even more difficult. Jungkook's name resurfaces again in discussions surrounding the rumored new album titled Arirang. If this album indeed becomes the main accompaniment to the comeback, Jungkook's role as a vocalist with a wide emotional range becomes even more central. Arirang, as a Korean cultural symbol, carries historical weight tied to separation and reunion. Performing songs with such themes in front of hundreds of thousands of people at Gwanghwamun, a space saturated with national meaning, could create an emotional resonance unprecedented in K-pop concerts. Bang Si-hyuk, who has long remained largely out of the camera's frame in BTS-related contexts, has suddenly re-emerged as a figure of public discussion. Many wonder whether he is testing the maximum limits of BTS's influence, or attempting to prove that a global fandom can function as a disciplined and mature force. Within industry circles, there is a belief that this concert is a statement of trust in ARMY, in the BTS members, and in Jungkook's ability to serve as a bridge between euphoria and control. But trust always comes with risk. The projection of 200,000 people is not merely an optimistic figure, but a worst-case scenario that must be prepared for. Police and city officials are reportedly still conducting simulations and intensive discussions, a clear indication that no one is treating this event lightly. In such a situation, every internal message matters and every directive could determine the course of events. The image of the Gwanghwamun concert is becoming increasingly complex. It is not just about music or a comeback, but about a subtle power relationship between artists, fans, industry, and the state. Jungkook stands at the center of this vortex, not as a fully free individual, but as a symbol carrying both hope and anxiety. And behind the scenes, Bang Si-hyuk remains a figure who, though rarely visible, is believed to hold the complete map of this high-risk game. The question now grows sharper. When concert day arrives, which message will prevail? The message of euphoria or the message of caution? As March 21, 2026 draws closer, the atmosphere in Seoul is changing in ways that numbers alone cannot explain. This is no longer about projections of 200,000 people or comparisons to Coachella, but about a collective tension slowly seeping into public space. Gwanghwamun Square, usually a crossroads for tourists, office workers, and historical symbolism, is projected to transform into a center of global emotion. It is here that all speculation surrounding Bang Si-hyuk's message, Jungkook's role, and the state's preparedness will be tested in real terms. From early morning, security authorities are expected to close off large portions of the area surrounding the square. Korean media reports indicate that public transportation routes will be adjusted and giant screens installed at various points to disperse the crowd. Yet beneath these technical arrangements lies a quieter concern. Can euphoria be guided without extinguishing it? This concert is designed as a celebration, not a demonstration of force, but the line between the two becomes extremely thin when hundreds of thousands of people gather with the same emotional charge. On stage, the most anticipated moment is not merely the first song or the sight of BTS standing complete again after years apart, but the seconds when Jungkook steps forward. Many believe that this is where Bang Si-hyuk's so-called secret message will find its manifestation, not through explicit words, but through gestures, pacing, and the way Jungkook interacts with the crowd. A brief call for calm, a smile that restrains an emotional surge, or a deliberate pause before a song laden with feeling could serve as a calming signal to the end of the day. When the stage lights fade and the crowd slowly disperses, the world may realize that what was at stake was not merely BTS's reputation or Bang Si-hyuk's vision, but a larger question about the future of global-scale concerts. Is this the beginning of a new era in which music can unite hundreds of thousands of people in an orderly way, or a sign that we must rethink how we celebrate our idols? The answer will be born in Gwanghwamun, amid cheers, tears, and the silence that follows them.